But Taz, 1996 was really the talk of ECW getting their very first pay-per-view. And we know there's a story behind the story of how it almost didn't happen. But all along, it feels as if the plan was Taz and Sabu to be, if not the main event, the featured and marketed main event. When did you know, hey, this pay-per-view thing's real and we're going to be the marquee matchup?
That's a tough one there because I don't want to speak for Sabu, but I think we both knew that we'd be the main attraction of this thing because the build-up with he and I was 1 year long, But as far as the pay-per-view itself, barely legal, it was, Sabu, he remembers, I'm sure, it was a tense time leading up to this. We didn't know if it was going to happen or not. There was so many different issues, business issues and stuff like that. Go ahead, Sabu, go ahead.
We're always promised pay-per-view so many times before from Paul when it didn't come through.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah, but then once we realized it was real, and we started going and doing stuff with WWF at the time, WWE, like cross promoting to promote Barely Legal, then we kind of, I think as a group, as a locker room, we kind of realized, all right, this is real shit right here. We're rocking and rolling. This is no joke. And as we got closer to the show, obviously a few weeks out, we knew it was real. And humbly speaking, I think the whole roster kicked ass on that fucking show.
I totally agree. One of my favorite shows to go back and watch. I'm glad we're going to get to watch part of it tonight. Sabu, you can see the Barely Legal poster there behind Mr. Josh Odom tonight. What do you think of that poster? Do you remember who designed that, Mr. Sabu?
I think Taz did. Taz and Paul Heyman. I should.
Well, no, it was me. I was asked by Paul to do it because as you know, Sabu, I was doing a lot of the T-shirts for the boys and the the graphics. So he asked me to do it, and then it pissed off some of the guys, namely Raven, which we still joke about it, because he felt like he should have been that he was But shit, man, Sabu and I were the match that was built up. I didn't decide, and I've said this publicly before. I didn't say, hey, Paul, I'm going to put me and Sabu face to face on the fucking poster. Paul Heyman made the decision, so Paul can pass the heat anytime he wants. It's a crock of shit. It was his idea.
Right, you're exactly right. But it was your okay though, right? You okayed it.
But yeah,
okay.
but bro, did he talk to you about it too?
What's that?
Did Paul talk to you about the poster and the T-shirts that you and I?
Yeah, he showed it to me.
Yeah. Oh, I thought. Oh, he showed it to me after the fact. All right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he showed it to me, and I started blushing. And then, but then you designed it, I guess, something like that.
I did. Yeah, I don't remember. Someone took a photo of us. So what people don't know, Conrad, they might not know that photo of Sabu and I. We did it at a house show, and it was actually him and I. It wasn't like Photoshop, like two different times. That was done in real time. I don't remember where the show was. It wasn't a TV. It was not a TV. And Sabu and I, they asked us. I don't know who took it. I can't remember. And then they got me the photo, and then I worked my magic, and we got it on the shirt.
Right. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool poster. As long as I didn't design it, I was all for it. As long as I didn't do it.
Because you fucking passed the heat on to me because you didn't give a shit. Because I got the heat, not you, bro. Come on.
You had tossed the coin, not me. I let you toss it. But it worked out.
It did work out. I'm cool.
Yeah, it was a fitting poster for the event, and so I was happy with it.
Sabu, you had been sort of the internet darling, if you will, back before that was a thing. You were probably the most prolific independent wrestler at the beginning of ECW. And when this pay-per-view starts to build, as Taz said, it's more than a year build. And that was really uncommon even back then. But we got to see it for your story. At the time, was this maybe the most hyped, most anticipated match of your ECW career, Sabu?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. To that point, even after that point, it was still the high point. My favorite match in ECW was the very first match I had in ECW against Taz before there was fancy pay-per-views. My favorite match and most memorable match is the first one I had with Taz in 1993, I think it was.
It was 93, and bro, I didn't even fucking know that. And that's nice to hear because I felt the same way. I remember that. I remember the match, and I'll tell you this. And I'm sorry. Go ahead,
And I go, we figured we should a stack of tables across the building. We fought across the building, grabbed the table, drug it to the ring, continued fighting, and got back in the ring after we located the table and chair and all kinds of stuff. We pieced it together by accident. That was my most memorable match. Is that one, and that was led up to the pay-per-view match, that very first match.
And I'd like to go back in time a little bit, and I want to put Sabu over big here because you talk about that he was like an internet darling kind of before there was internet. I'm telling you right now, bro, in the early 90s, Sabu was red hot. And
yes,
Paul Heyman called me. I didn't really know Paul that well. I might have met him one time before, and he called me up and he said, have you ever heard of this guy Sabu? Because I knew Paul started helping book with Eddie Gilbert or some shit, this Eastern Championship Wrestling in Philadelphia. And I was trying to get in there because I was looking for dates. I had no money. I was fucking poor and I needed work. And I knew that this was a hot thing. So Paul kind of stayed in touch. We stayed in touch with each other a little bit. And like I said, I met him maybe one time for IWCCW. He was booking. This was probably like 1991. He got fired after 2 weeks. He told Mario Savoldi to go fuck himself. And that's a shoot. So, yeah, it's Savoldi. So what happens is Paul calls me and says, hey, look, I can guarantee you one date. And it was like early October 1993 against this guy, Sabu. Do you know who he is? I go, I don't know him personally. I said, but I was recently on a show with him in Minneapolis. And I met him and I said, the guy's fucking fantastic. He goes, well, I need you to put him over and I can guarantee you one date, that date. And if it goes well, we'll see what happens. I said, I don't give a fuck. I'll put him over. No problem. That guy's great. And then, you know, Sabu was like, he was like throughout the independent circuit before it was even called independence. He was the fucking guy, you know, like he was the man, you know, he was the fucking man. So, you know, he gave me he let me do so much in that match. And I was like so humble about it. And he helped me get a job because he let me get so much heat on him because the fucking guy's a genius because he sells his ass off, you know, and even on his high spots, he outsells the guys he's hitting. So Sabu has been way ahead of his time for many, many years. And so I'll publicly thank you, Sabu. I mean, you because of you, I got hired, man, because you let me fucking stick out there.
Well, that's why I give you credit also, because that wasn't for that first match. Us giving that match for 200 people would never ended up 2,000 people on pay-per-view.
Yes, sir.
Well,
200 people there.
Bro, I'll tell you what, Sabu could attest to this, comrade. The fucking 200 people during those times in ECW, Eastern Championship Wrestling, we would do TV tapings, and there was like 200 people, if that. And you talk about smart fans. You fucking get a guy in a hole, they're fucking screaming, do a high spot, like fuck you. Like it was, dude, it was mayhem, bro.
They say, okay, Chen, you killed your wife or something like that. King Dewey.
Yeah. No, they were too small for their own good. I hated all of them, but you know, but it worked for the, you know, they were. Remember Sabu? We used to shoot those TVs like on Sunday afternoons in the freezing cold in that shitty building, the ECW arena. Before that, it had no heat, had nothing, and we would just do like 4 hours of TV in that motherfucker. And we didn't. It was like Paul just writing stuff literally on a piece of paper and like, let's do these matches. That's how it was.
Most of it was last minute. Yeah. I loved it that way.
Well, let's get to why we're here. I can't believe it's real. It's been 25 years. Josh, let's roll a little pre-match footage, and then we'll get into the match and let Taz and Sabu take us back down memory lane here. What do you think about that? How about that promo, Sabu?
Great. I loved it. Because you know why it was good? He did that in one take, and he was speaking from the heart. It wasn't no script. It wasn't words he'd never said before. It was stuff he felt in his heart. And Paul just gave him a microphone. Awesome.
Taz, I loved it. What did you think watching it back?
Thank you, and thanks for saying that. Yeah, well, thanks for saying that, Sabu. But yeah, the thing is, wait, are we still rolling video here?
Yeah, we're gonna get to watch the match. We'll just talk.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, as far as the promo, yeah, most of the whole build up for the year, for that whole year, because Sabu really was not a talker. That he did his action in the ring until he had Fonzie managing him, which happens after this match, as we know. But so I kind of the verbal part of the angle was my role as the heel to carry that. So in my promo, if you notice, I'm putting Sabu over because I mean that. I knew how tough a motherfucker this guy was because we've been in enough battles. Yeah, okay, it's a work, but there was a time when Sabu.
When Paul said cut a promo, he didn't have a script. He might have gave you a couple of guidelines. I know he
Right.
said, "Give me 5 minutes, give me 7 minutes, give me 12 minutes." And you come up with the rest. It wasn't scripted on that.
Correct. Correct.
You're speaking from the heart. You didn't have to memorize it. It was coming out.
Correct. And so my job was also I had to put over Sabu. He was a top guy. I became a top guy. So we were both top guys. And I knew him as the baby face, he wasn't talking. So I had to get over the angle to, putting him over too. By the way, Sabu, I got to ask you, what happened? You just didn't give a fuck about your entrance on this deal?
I don't know. What happened there?
Oh, I'm in the corner, and all of a sudden you just popped up. You're in the ring.
Yep. Well, I was even going to ask. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know. I think they edited it out. I don't know. What can I say? I'm there.
No, I think bro, I think you just did you leave? Did you just go without you? I think you sprinted down.
Oh, I think they were trying to tell me. I'm not sure, but I remember them having the handhelds, and I ran past them because they're in my way.
That sounds like you.
Before Ron and Charlie were our camera guys, and they knew to stay out of the way.
Yeah, some things I want to point out about Sabu. Like, look at him. This is before the match. I never knew what he was going to do. So the more he moved, the less I moved. That's how I always work with Sabu. The more he moved before the match, the less I would move. Plus, it gives you a good optical.
Yes.
This was not a good beginning of this match. Sabu, take it away.
Remember you slapped me in the mouth?
Sorry. Yeah.
About knocked me out. I was out on my feet. It doesn't even look like it.
Yeah, people don't know that. Yeah, I caught him on the button. He gave me his jaw, and I went a little too hard.
Like that there. I was out on my feet. That knocked that.
Oh, wow.
I came back and worked it. I was out on my feet.
Yeah, and I think you leave the ring at some point. Yeah, you will. And I knew it because we had some stuff worked out, and it all had to change.
Oh, wow.
So
Taz, in preparing for a match like this, how far in advance would you start thinking about the story you want to tell inside the match?
Well, it wasn't just me. It was Sabu and I together. I guess that's what you mean. That's why it was both of us. And we without pulling the curtain back too much, we had a lot of comfortability with each other, and we worked a lot with each other. So we knew spots a couple of weeks ahead of time that we had in mind to do. So, but people, we knew that first match in 19. Go.
Yeah, we done few of them before, so it was pretty easy to do them again.
Yeah, and honestly, we were tag team partners, we were tag team champions together. So we were very comfortable with each other. We knew we had chemistry. Like I could just, if I was in shape, I know he still works. I could work with him right now, but I can't do it. I'm more fucked up. But we just had a natural chemistry. I'm not bragging about both of us, but we did.
Yeah, I agree. Like I told you, like I said, I'll say it a million times. My favorite match is the very first match I had in ECW with you.
Yeah, and Sammy, I love that match too. And anybody who wants to go back and watch that shit, go watch it. And Sabu was fun.
This is my third best match.
Nice. So yeah, I right here with this ankle lock. Now that's before like Kurt Angle and Champ. Well, that crossface got you too, I think. Yeah, Sabu, that crossface I might have got.
Tap out fashionable during this match, right?
Say again?
You made the tap out fashionable. Tap out.
Right. Correct.
Before you showed it, genius.
Yeah. Nobody was using the tap out. And then these cross faces. Man, Sabu's the type of guy, he would just, just say, just fucking, he's tough, bro. Like, he's the toughest guy, pound for pound, I've ever been in the ring with. You can hit him as hard as you want. The motherfucker didn't stop. I swear to God.
I almost stopped. You broke my nose there.
I know. Sorry again. God, I
That's
should
how
have agreed to this. I should have. I feel horrible right now. My son's a wrestler. I don't want him seeing this.
Oh,
Oh boy.
yeah, it was a half work. It wasn't completely broken. I just made it look like it did. You know,
Well, that's the thing, Conrad, with Sabu. Like with Sabu, you never knew. You didn't know sometimes if he was working or not, bro. Like, it's just the way he sells. Like, he just. I never knew, and I would just give him space and wait, and we knew we had the people, so there was no reason to rush into nothing.
Yeah, everybody's standing. Look in the background. Nobody's sitting down. What was different about this night, Taz? Were you using the same production crew, same camera guys? What was different about the pay-per-view?
Yeah, no, it was bigger. It was a bigger production than we've done for TV. It was a couple more cameras than normal. I think we used to normally do a 2-camera shoot. That was nice.
More than Ron and Charlie would have. Our normal camera guys.
Yeah, it was a much bigger lighting grid, everything, and they had a bigger truck. They had a real truck for us, a production truck. I didn't go over the fucking thing. I didn't go over the guardrail when you kicked me, and then he had to throw me over. That hurt. Lands on my head. Oh boy, here he comes. Be careful. Fucking wild man.
I don't work for that chair.
But see, like Conrad, look at the sense of urgency the fucking guy has. Like that's
he was
what
sprinting.
Yeah. And that's what I think some guys that try to do flying stuff don't do. There's a lot of guys who do that. Yeah, but Sabu inspired a lot of these guys, and Van Dam, the style they both had. They inspired a lot of guys that are doing this shit today,
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, so I'll pull back. So when you're in the audience fighting, so for you guys that are watching this and jumped on, fans and stuff, just to let you know, like when you're in a fist fight in the crowd, you got to lay it in because there are fans that are right next to you. So there's nothing you're working. You got to go. You got to go full speed.
Wow.
And the way it's shot, that's what I think made ECW so cool. That, like, the cameras are not just on me and Sabu. You see the crowd. You can't see me and Sabu. You can see us. So it makes it fucking frantic. And I got to give Paul credit. That's Heyman, and that's he felt that.
And Taz, in this era, it was not exactly normal for the Taz character to be brawling through the crowd. But this is such a bitter feud. It only makes sense that, hey, this is not just going to be wrestling moves. This is going to be a fight, right?
Absolutely. And we both knew, right? Sabu and I knew that all the hype, all the hype that was behind this, we both knew like it's going to be really hard to live up to the hype. And
right.
Because it was really built up big. And so we just gave our best effort 150%. And I think fans like it.
Well, you know how it is. I considered every match big. I didn't consider this bigger than the last one. I consider them all big. Now I paid for it in the long run. I broke my ass. But at this point, every match was a big match. There was no small match. So it was business as usual.
Absolutely. And in AEW, I tell a lot of younger guys that every match, no matter if it's on a YouTube show or TV, it's huge. Everything is your last match. Your next match is your last match.
Yeah.
Taz, do you think that you and Sabu had a chip on your shoulder? At this time, we're in the middle of the Monday Night Wars. So there's the WWF and WCW and ECW. And you guys were obviously the smaller of the three promotions. But this is your debut. Do you think you come in here sort of pissed off at the world, like I'm going to prove my point, sort of like Paul Heyman said in that speech that we all saw way back when?
Absolutely. We all did. Everybody on that roster on this card was like that. This pay-per-view put us all on the map. So we all had a big chip on our shoulder. We're pissed off. And we both were. I mean, and the rest of the roster was. Everybody who wrestled on this card, seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody really, no, a lot of us, the other bigger companies like didn't really want a lot of us early on. We were kind of like, land of the misfit toys, as became a popular saying. But that motivated us. It wasn't just Paul Heyman motivating us. We motivated ourselves.
Taz, were there agents? I know that's a silly thing, but was there anyone in the back, a veteran of some sort, who would help with matches and stuff?
No.
There was no agents. There was no agents.
No.
That word wasn't invented yet.
Yeah, and we did it all, we just each match worked our own stuff. Might bounce something off some of the other guys. Oh, that fucking hurt.
Oh,
Remember that? That sucked.
Sorry, man.
Dude, they fucking nailed me, bro. That hurt. But he owed me about 5 receipts, so I can't bitch.
I hurt myself too.
I couldn't tell.
I hurt my hand.
I haven't watched
what's
this match in
interesting
years.
See, Fonzie
funny
says,
about this match, but
"Give me hand me the chair." I don't know what I was doing.
Me neither. It worked.
it's kind of funny. Michelangelo worked with brushes and paints and oils, and you worked with tables and chairs, but we appreciated it.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, just to be honest, a lot of these spots you're seeing, like where I'm on offense on these chairs and stuff, Sabu, don't get hot, but I'm going to tell the truth. Like, Sabu came up with a lot of this stuff. You're watching. I'm just being honest with you. So,
It's great stuff.
Exposes tricks, But I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Hey, kayfabe's still alive, bro. You know that.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It is a little bit. Hold back a little bit. I don't let him know everything.
That's true.
I don't let him know everything. I still got, I'm still brought up by my uncle would flip over right now if you see I'm not in business today.
He definitely would, and then throw a fireball at me and burn my back. I remember that too.
He did do that.
Yo, it was me and Kevin Sullivan against you and your uncle. He threw that fireball. I didn't think he was going to reach me from the first row. And I think it hurt like a son of a bitch.
Yeah, he threw it from the first row.
Remember that?
Guardrail. I know. It's like the guardrail.
I'll never forget it.
Oh, this must be paid back, right? You paid me back?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of receipt. Yeah, a little bit.
Got that player on my back.
So we kept trying to go in the ring, out of the ring, in the ring. It's just frantic, So my style with his style,
Yeah, that's I think that's cool. Boom.
Yes.
Yep.
Cameraman missed it. The cameraman missed me hitting the guardrail. I hit the guardrail.
Yes, it is.
That story. They came in late, so I looked stupid. But I hit the guardrail first, and then
because they had the hard camera on you. It should have been a handheld.
Yeah, or just left it at hard camera and left it there.
Right. Sabu always had something taped up. If something was just taped, I don't know how much tape he used to go through, bro. There's always tape involved.
It's called trying to get visual sympathy. That they know my shoulder hurts without me saying my shoulder hurts.
Right.
Like when I used to take my jaw up, I was saying my jaw hurts without me saying my jaw hurts.
Yeah. No, you were ahead of your time, bro. With a lot of shit.
Sympathy cell.
No kidding. So, Taz, who are the guys who are a part of the dojo here, the teammates around the ring?
Well, that's the original Team Taz guys. They were students at the House of Hardcore, and a lot of them broke in on the ring crew. But it's like, I'm trying to remember who's there. Danny Doring, probably, maybe Roadkill, Chris Chetty, a couple other guys that people might not know their names. That's what it was. Yeah, Martian Boy. Martian Boy. I forgot about that. This spot, I remember this shit.
Oh, man, me too.
I don't.
It was your idea.
Oops.
I never saw that before that day.
That's bound to happen.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, this is I haven't watched. Sabu, have you watched this match? I didn't like recently. I haven't watched it in years.
I watched it years ago, and Botsky put up in front of me some of it.
Yeah.
Taz, when did you guys start thinking about the idea of doing something different with Fonzie? And was that a little foreshadowing when you said because Fonzie put his money on it?
To me, that was natural. Taz could talk. I couldn't. I needed someone who
Right.
could talk. I didn't need someone who could talk. Taz could talk. You know, it was a natural fit that Fonzie came to me.
He's exactly right. That was it, and it just fit. But all strikes look good, bro. All punches look good.
Over Taz. Taz was the best talker there was. Is best talker there is.
Thank you, bro.
I'm not bullshitting. No, you know, there was no script. Back in the day, there was no script. That's what made it. We judged a good worker and how good you come up with a script without coming up with a script.
Just organic, you know. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, like a couple of years before this, Sabu and I, we didn't get along. We really kind of didn't like each other, but I think we always had that mutual respect for each other. And I think this match kind of brought us together a little bit too, because we had a lot of pressure on both of us, you know.
We had the Terry Funk thing the night before, right? So we kind of made.
Yep.
We kind of said, let's put our, you know, take our gloves off and be cool, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, we worked. Sabu, did we work like some 30-minute Broadways on house show loops before this? I think we did, or after this. Man, I can't remember.
Yeah, that was later on, wasn't it?
Yeah, after you did for sure.
See, that's me, the high flyer, bro. See that? I remember saying to Sabu, bro, I don't know about this bump. No, you can do it, bro. You can do it. Oh, okay. Yeah, those leg drops, bro. I never knew what the fuck was gonna happen. I would just watch you in the air. I'm like, oh god. I just hope his foot don't hit me in the face.
Yeah, I know. One time you did it to me, I rolled out of the way and you
I remember that shit.
I'm still selling.
I did the flip in my foot.
Yeah. And I moved and that caught me in the kidney.
Tasmaniac. I was barefoot when that happened.
Yeah, and we continued. I had to continue with a barefoot up my ass. I was dying. That was one of the worst winds getting knocked out of me ever. You know, I got the wind knocked out of me 1,000 times. That was number one.
Yeah, I know that hurt. Ooh. Look at that cell. Look at that cell. Fuck, man.
That hurt a little bit too.
That one might have been my idea. Sorry. That's a front headlock suplex. You don't see that a lot. It's an old, like catch style throw, but you don't see many guys do that anymore. It's a tougher throw than it looks because you're low, and the guy really there's nothing he can do. You just got to throw him, so it's a little tough to do. Takes a lot out of you, believe it or not. Uh-oh.
How about that?
That was a big deal right there because I don't think anyone. Jericho was the only guy who suplexed me when he came in, and then Sabu did that. And it was a big deal for us. Oh shit! And no one ever put me in my own hole, so this was pretty fucking cool. Sabu, I think, did it better than me.
Keep doing that too. Remember we were in practice and I go quit shooting with me because everything I did to you in practice, you kept countering it instead of taking it. You kept countering. I go practice, get it in. You go get it in. I go. I was trying to get it in. You kept shooting with me.
I know. Oh shit!
You remember? Very sad of it. You had to pull it apart. Do you remember?
Yeah. I do remember
that was
on Long Island at the dojo. Yeah.
Yeah, the dojo. Yep. He quit shooting with me. He goes, "You guys quit shooting with each other."
Yeah, Perry was yelling at him. So, Calvin, how long was this match?
Josh, time in here, but I think it's 17 minutes.
Yeah, I think the actual match is about 17, 20 minutes, and then there's, the pre-match and post-match shenanigans.
I was blown up 5 minutes.
This isn't the end anymore. This isn't the end. There's more, right?
No,
Yeah.
you guys beat me up.
Yeah, the Fonzie turn, all that stuff.
Van Dam got me, and you guys all beat the shit out of me.
Taz, would you have been able to pick the referee for something like that, or is that handled by somebody else?
No, we both Sabu and I had enough, I guess, clout to say who would be the ref. But I'm trying to remember. I think they had it. Paul had it segued out, had it structured a certain way. So that's why I think Jim Molyneux was reffing this one. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot the
Yes,
promo here.
Let's start it up, Josh.
Yeah, you haven't turned yet. Fonzie hasn't turned.
I'm so fucking blown up right now.
Sabu, listen to me. What happened was I choked you out. Now listen to me. I don't want you to mistake this for me blowing smoke up your ass, because I ain't doing that. But you gave me the fight in my life. And I don't want, it might be bullshit, you need to shut your mouth and have some respect.
That was.
I don't want to sound funny, but you fought me to my line, the end of my line, and I got a lot of respect for you, and it's hard for me to say that. But I'll tell you what, anytime you want a rematch with me, I would love the opportunity for you to take me to my limit. Now I want to shake your hand.
Show of sportsmanship on the part of Taz.
Biggest mistake I made right here, guys.
Taz is a bigger man than we all thought he was.
Thanks, Joey.
Sabu accepted his hand. And now Sabu raising the hand of Taz. A wonderful display of sportsmanship here at ECW's very first pay-per-view, barely legal. That's the way it should be. Like the gladiators of old.
She's pulling me in right now.
Full respect.
That's the gimmick. There we go.
Into the ring. Van Dam just nailed Taz from behind. Van Dam.
That's it.
Sabu's tag team.
Remember the plan? Now you know how it goes.
Jeff
So
Bell,
you-
Taz.
Well, don't come with
He's
me.
got no love lost for Taz. Taz is up. Van Dam and Sabu may go at it here. Taz is going for the hard way Taz flex. Sabu say Van Dam. And now
For
Sabu.
people that it pop.
Yeah.
Drop kicks to the ribs of Taz. Leg drop by Van Dam.
This has happened to me by these two guys many times.
100 times. Yeah.
After this, yeah.
Slingshot twisting leg drop. Sabu and Rob Van Dam tag team partners. Arabian face buster.
Hey, Josh, let's turn it down a little bit.
Sabu, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't, Van Dam wasn't booked on the show, and I think he was a little upset, and he should have been booked on the show because he was over like a motherfucker, and I think
He was on yes, he was over like a motherfucker, and I'll put him out pre-show rematch.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so, like, he had to work the pay-per-view, and it was about getting paid. He didn't get paid for it. It was supposed to be match. It was enhancement match. What do you want to call it?
Yeah,
he
pre show kill.
You know, he wrestled last time was an hell of a match.
Yeah, it was good heat. They popped at first. Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah, I don't know why exactly that he wasn't on it. I don't know. I just know he wasn't.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know why
joking.
either. Yeah, no, you got me. But yeah, I don't know why Paul did that, because Rob was fucking red hot, man. He was over like a son of a bitch. But I mean, the card was jammed, but Rob should have. I think Rob was just ticked about it.
Yeah, he had just started doing his Mr. Monday Night thing too. So it was weird timing for him not to be in a featured spot on the show.
Yeah, but Rob, he knows he'll take the spotlight when he gets opportunity, and he did a good job here, him and Sabu. And it was a good marriage once people knew Fonzie was involved, which you're about to see here. See, it was all a fucking plan.
Yeah,
it was a good marriage.
One thing, Rob did end up being on the show, but I think he replaced Candido and Lance, and then he cut a promo. He was pretty upset about it.
That's right. I remember that now. You're saying it. So Fonzie's got 9,000 t-shirts on. Yes, Conrad, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is an interesting decision because, I know that he had a different persona before he was, running around with a whistle as part of Team Taz, but he was almost as synonymous with your character to where it was kind of hard to imagine Paul Bearer managing someone besides The Undertaker. It was kind of hard for me to imagine Fonzie managing someone besides you, because he wasn't what I would call like a traditional manager, but somehow with these guys, it really worked, didn't it?
It did work.
What's the rules in ECW? Remember, he's brought in to be the referee that enforced the rules of in ECW, or tried to enforce the rules, and by trying to enforce the rules made him a heel, right?
Yeah.
That's why we were together, but it worked great with me. But I think, and I loved when Fonzie and I were doing shit together because we played off each other well. But I do think him becoming the manager of champions with Van Dam and Sabu, those guys had all the belts, and it looked great with Fonzie holding all the belts. It was just, and Rob would talk, and then Fonzie would talk, Sabu would point. It worked. They had great chemistry, the three of these guys.
Yeah. He wasn't a manager for long. He was a referee up until this match, until a match before this with you.
But the thing was, like, he knew how to get heat, Fonzie. He knew how to get heat. People hated him when he did that thing with Beulah and Todd Gordon. That really gave a lot of heat way back before this. And then just getting with you two guys, it made it even better. No one expected him to turn on me. I remember when Paul told me about it, I'm like, what do you think? I go, I think it's great. I said, I'm cool by myself. I could cut a promo, no biggie. I think it's good with Van Dam and Sabu. It should be good, and it ended up being great.
I thought it was. I thought it was a perfect combination. Plus, you could talk on your own. You didn't need him. I needed him. I even said to Vincent, I need someone to talk for me. You want me to talk for myself? I said, no, but it's not because I don't want to. It's I know I'm not good at it, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to.
And the other thing, and you're right, Sabu. And the other thing, Conrad, Sabu, Van Dam, and Fonzie, the three of them were legitimate good friends. They were buddies. They traveled together. They hung out. They partied together. Me and Fonzie, we had really nothing in common. Like, I never hung out with Fonzie. I was always by myself. But like on a shoot, like at the hotel and all that shit. But like these guys, the three of them were really good friends. So it made for good synergy with them.
We've traveled in the motorhome, and Fonzie would bring the toilet paper. I swear to God, he always bring toilet paper. God bless him.
My God. Oh, he's a crazy bastard still, man. He's nuts.
Toilet paper.
Well, Josh, let's do a few questions. I think you've got our question order today. Do you want to go ahead and let's do a few?
Yeah, I can call them out. First up would be Matt M.
Matt, welcome to the show. You got a question for Taz or Sabu tonight?
Thanks, Conrad. Hey, Taz, Sabu, what an honor to talk to you guys. And thanks for all your contributions to the business over the years. And Taz, thanks for your contribution in the form of Hook. Big fan. And maybe one day we can get a Hook versus Dominic Mysterio in a Sons of Legends match, and probably put my money on Hook that night.
I think Dominic already said he wants to wrestle Hook.
Yeah. Yeah. So my question is just, with such a special night,
Okay.
The first pay-per-view, big match for you guys, big finish with Terry Funk. What was that like afterwards in the locker room? You know, was there sort of a big celebration, a level of camaraderie? You know, was it a new experience for you guys? So I was wondering how that was afterwards.
Matt, to your point question now, I think, yeah, there was. I know for Sabu and I, we felt like there was a level of accomplishment because, again, we had a lot of pressure on us. All the matches had pressure on them. Our buildup was 1 year, so it felt like even more pressure. And I felt like a giant weight was off my chest. I don't want to speak for Sabu. I don't know how he felt, but that's how I felt. And I felt like
we had a different time of saying we made it. First match was we made it first. We went through it, and then the last match it was like everybody had a different level of when to say we made it.
right, exactly. But it was. I'll tell you though, Matt. Like in the locker room after the pay-per-view, I remember it. It definitely was a big sense of accomplishment by the whole company. You know, if it was, I don't want to act like we had this big party and this big celebration, but we were all very happy. And we were happy with all of our performances and the wrestling matches, the production, everything. I mean, the production wasn't perfect, but that's what ECW was. We didn't have perfect production. We didn't want to have perfect production. It was raw. That's what it was, and that's what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
So another question, Josh.
Ram has a question for you.
Thank you, Conrad. Thank you, Taz and Sabu, for taking the time tonight. Just first off, I want to say, the fact that you did this storyline build up over a year without Sabu saying anything was just fantastic. I mean, just great on both of your parts. And I guess I'm wondering, was the plan from the beginning to build this out over a year, or did you just see that it was working and just kept going with it?
No, for a year. Heyman knew. He wanted to wait. He didn't want us touching. And what Paul did, even though Sabu wasn't cutting promos around, what Paul did with Sabu is he cut great packages on Sabu, character development shit on him. And I could spin off of that with promos. And that's kind of what we did. And without a team of writers or nothing, it was just me, Sabu, and Paul as far as how the whole thing went for a whole year. It wasn't just me and Paul, but Sabu was heavily involved, obviously.
It was all supposed to come to a head on the pay-per-view. We didn't know the date of the pay-per-view from at first. For the first 6 months, we didn't know the pay-per-view. And when he said April, we kind of said like, yeah, right, April again. No.
Yeah, it kept getting pushed back. Like we just didn't know. And then there was a time where it was going to maybe not even happen. So it was, like I said at the top of this show here, it was a little nerve-wracking for everybody because we didn't know. And Paul was pretty transparent about it. He was pretty honest with most of the guys about that. So, there was a lot of sweating times. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was a lot of sweating times.
Hey, Taz, tell me a little bit about, in terms of building this story, the big moment, I think, is when the lights go off and they come back on and there's Sabu. You've had so many great crowd reaction moments, whether it's your debut at the Garden or when you and Bam Bam went through the ring, but those were a little different. This felt like, I don't know, electric, organic. How would you describe that? And where does it rank for you all time?
Oh, geez, it's in the top 3 for sure. I'll never forget when those lights came on and Sabu, I was in the corner and Sabu pointed up and he was in the middle of the ring. The building literally was shaking. I mean, the ring was, there was a light tremble to the ring, man. It was fucking crazy. And we knew it was going to be a huge pop. I don't think we knew it was going to be that big of a pop, but it just kept going, the pop. Just kept going and going. And then when we go to lock up, the lights went out and the people booed,
What was funny? I had a turban on my way to the ring. I ran into the post, knocked my turban off, almost fell down, then climbed into the ring just in time as they turned the lights on. I would have my bell rung when the lights were on. When the lights got turned on, I had a turban. Don't you remember?
Yeah, I do, because there was that fucking post.
I had a turban. Lights came on, the turban was gone.
There was that steel post, like in the ECW arena where we had to set up. You'd walk out, and it was a steel post. You kind of had to go around. So if you run out in the dark, yeah, you're gonna fucking hit the post. That's what happened.
It's dark, and I didn't map it out, and I ran into the post, knocked my turban off, knocked myself down and crawled into the ring just in time to point up and the lights went on.
And I
Just in
saw
time.
you, Sabu. I saw you. I could see, even though it was dark, I could see you hit that thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do now? I don't know what to do. I'm
Your eyes should adjust to it. I couldn't see. I couldn't see it.
I
I
couldn't
couldn't
see
read.
it. I'm like, oh, shit.
I couldn't read the only post in the whole building. I ran into it. That was awful.
Oh, man.
Josh, let's do another question here.
Nick Mills, you're up next.
Hi, boys. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
What's
Yeah,
up,
nice to
Nick?
see you. So what I was going to say was the crowd in ECW were known for being quite intense and also added to the show. Can you think of any moments that were good, but the crowd made them better?
Oh, wow. That's a tough question. Man, a lot. I mean, a lot of the moments were because, to your point, were because of the audience. You know, they were not in control though. We were the boys were in control. We controlled the people. They thought they were in control, but I can assure you they were not in control. So, I mean, there were so many massive, huge moments in ECW. It's hard to even. I mean, that the people were such a big part of. You know, because of the interaction that the whole roster had with them and that Heyman had, you know? So I Sabu, maybe you could name us. I can't think of one moment. That moment when Sabu got in the ring with me, yeah.
When everybody came with a frying pan. The whole front row came with a frying pan. They were selling them outside the arena before you come in. You could buy a frying pan. And like 25 people had frying pan. I thought that was funny as shit.
Yeah, that's because of fucking Dreamer. Because he used to, that's his fault. That's his fault.
I mean, well, who goes, yeah, let's get a frying pan and go watch wrestling. You know, who does that? You know, Philadelphia fans.
Go to the Waffle House.
Josh, we got another one.
Adrian Gomez.
But
Hello.
Hey,
I'm
hello,
calling
buddy.
from China, so I hope the signal is okay.
Wow. Well, thanks for joining us from
Yeah.
China. That's awesome.
I think he got a sweet background.
All this awesome content that you produce, Conrad.
Thank you very
And of course, thank you, Sabu and Taz, for the match that you guys just had. After watching that, I all I can say is thanks. As a promoter myself, my go-to reaction to watching a match is anytime someone goes to the back is to say thank you. But you know, really, really thank you. That's awesome to revisit that. I have a question for Taz and Sabu regarding all of the ECW revival things that have gone on since ECW was purchased by WWE. What was your favorite reunion, ECW reunion show that you guys have been a part of since the original ECW closed? What was one that like really stood out?
Well, you know, One Night Stand was pretty stuck up the most because you know that was a top-notch show.
Yeah.
You know, I would say the One Night Stand, the second one. You know, the first one was so for me. The second one was a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree that that one night stand was really a special one. I personally did not like, and I was under contract with WWE, and I wasn't a fan that they did a rebirth of the company, and even that we were doing shows. I felt like what we all did in ECW was whatever you want to use a cliche, lightning in a bottle, whatever you want to call it, and it should have been once it was dead, it should have stayed dead, and the legacy just grows. So I was always worried that when TNA did some shit, and I was working for them at that time, and WWE and all that, I felt like, man, this is really gonna kind of. I just don't want them to fuck up what we all worked hard for, and it was a special thing. And all of the audiences we worked for in front of Philadelphia or New York or Florida or wherever, Ohio, wherever we were, it was all like the same type of crowd, and WWE couldn't match that. Well, let me rephrase that. The One Night Stand, because it was in New York City, I think that matched it. It did. I just, as an original ECW guy like Sabu, I just felt like leave our shit alone. Just leave it alone. But that didn't happen. The first one night stand, I agree with Sabu, was excellent. The second one was men's and men's.
Josh, let's do another question.
Randy Wagner.
All right. What's going on, Brandy? How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Very excited. So what we talked about earlier is kind of like Taz did the poster. I know that there was other wrestlers that sort of had other jobs, which kind of goes with my shirt that says "Do your job." So who else had other roles behind the scenes in ECW?
Okay, a lot of guys. So Tommy Dreamer did, Perry Saturn did, Bubba Ray Dudley, Shane Douglas, Guido, Mikey Whipwreck.
Taz, what did some of these guys do?
So I ran the dojo, and Perry Saturn worked with me in the dojo, and kind of helped run the dojo with me. Bubba worked out of the dojo. This is all Long Island, and he was promoting like New York shows. Bubba was, and Mikey was running the ring crew, and he also worked out of the dojo on Long Island because we all lived on Long Island. Tommy up in Westchester, New York, he ran like the merchandise where tapes with and merchandise was, and Guido worked under him there. Who am I missing? Shane Douglas out of Pittsburgh was promoting. So he was doing his stuff on his end. Who am I missing? Someone, Sabu? So other guys doing other jobs? I can't remember now. I think I got all of them. I think.
No,
I didn't hear you.
King.
Yeah. Forgot about that. Yep. So that was the more or less the gist of it. I can't think of anybody else, but you got a multi. Yeah,
remember Dan?
I remember. Yeah.
He hasn't left him for a wrestler. Wrestler.
Oh shit, man. Yep, and have the right.
No, totally Dan.
Just totally Dan. But yeah, no. So a lot of guys had other roles. We had to because we were not a big company, and a lot of us had to wear other hats. It was important because we all cared, and no matter if you had another job or not, Sabu and Van Dam, their roles were to be stars, and they did a great job. And a lot of guys were roles to be stars. They all did great jobs. But those of us that lived in New York, because Paul was based in New York, a lot of us had those responsibilities.
Josh, let's do another question.
Zol.
Unmute. Here we go. All right, good. No, I always tell everyone, like, if you can't pronounce my name, it's okay. I've been called a lot worse.
So it's not Joel, it's Zol.
Zol, exactly. Thank you, sir.
I like it.
Thank you. First, I want to say, Conrad, thank you so much for having us here, because this is honestly a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming.
And being a top guy for so many months, like this fills a void in my life of connecting with people that enjoy wrestling as much as I do.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
cool, man.
So Taz, my next step. My dad is an Air Force veteran. Okay. He retired after 20 years.
That's not funny.
I know it's not funny, but I gotta say this. You know what? My dad told me, like, that Taz is a punk.
Well, that means hey, Zol, that means I did my job.
That's what I told him. I said, I texted my dad tonight. I was like, Dad, I'm going to tell Taz that you called him a punk. So
tell your dad I said hello.
I will. Thank you, sir. So this goes to both Taz and Sabu. In terms of hardcore matches, through your careers, I respect what you guys have done for us as entertainers, but I gotta ask, what is the worst thing to take? Is it tax? Is it tables? Is it chairs? Is it maybe
Crawl space from Taz?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, what is the worst thing that you guys have taken? And you're like, whoo, that hurt.
I've taken some bad stuff, but I'm gonna lean on Sabu. He's done some much worse shit than me, like barbed wire stuff. So he's been in some like with FMW. He's done some wild shit.
Yeah, the worst one was was Chris Benoit though. That was the worst one.
That's where you broke your neck, right?
Neck injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a tag match with him and Malenko versus you and I think, right?
Yep.
Yes.
In Florida, right? Oh no, that's where you were hurt. Is in Florida. Yeah.
I got hurt in Florida. Sabu, that was in Philly when Sabu got hurt. But
yep.
You know, what people don't know is like a lot of people don't know. Kind of maybe right before ECW or maybe in the beginning of ECW, Sabu's gonna pop when he hears this. We had the fucking appliance match in Taylor, Michigan.
Tasmanian death match.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, we had like vacuum cleaners and shit, and it was like maybe 50 people there. And it was
nuts. My God.
For the first time. Tasmanian death match.
Yep, it was fucking great. But we called it an appliance match.
Well, Taz, did the vacuum cleaner match suck?
That was the same.
It did.
Appliance match. It was vacuum cleaner.
Sabu hit me with the Hoover.
He threw it over the ring.
Yes, I threw it. I remember that. Yeah. Yep. Oh man.
Yeah, that was called that wasn't called an appliance match. It was called a Tasmanian death match. And we go, what's that?
But we used to call it the appliance match, but then they deemed it like fall because I was a Tasmaniac then, and it wasn't my idea. Fuck, it was your idea, bro. You loved all that shit.
That's what started all this, the fans bringing the weapons, you know.
Yeah.
A vacuum cleaner. Well, I'll tell you what, this did not suck, guys. I can't believe it, but it's already been an hour. We can't thank you enough for all your time. Taz, I know you're traveling. Hope you make it home safely. And Mr. Sabu, thanks for jumping on with us tonight. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did.
For sure, I did. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, comrade. Everybody who joined on, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Sabu.
Hey, Taz, before I let you go, can you hit us with a Yambag Jones just one time?
A fucking little Yambag Yahtzee. You gotta... That fucking Sabu's hit me in the nuts. That's a Yambag shot. Yeah, he's done it.
Oh
yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.